Stephanie White forcing Caitlin Clark to learn a new system. Stephanie White is going to be exposed as a fraud as a coach. You can't come in here and try to change Caitlin Clark, the person.
That's not good. That's not good to hear.
Just minutes ago, Stephanie White made it clear Caitlin Clark is no longer the system.
Stephanie White speaking about Caitlin Clark actually learning this new system. And me personally, I feel like she's forcing Caitlin Clark.
There's so many things that go into, and I'm talking about being happy personally. Like I want her to be happy personally. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. It's a different group. While system might still be very similar, it's a different group, and things are happening quickly, and being able to mesh. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I think we've seen that there's so many things that go into.
The same rookie who's breaking records, carrying the team, and filling arenas is now being pushed to the side of her own offense. If you believe Caitlin should still be the system, still be the focus, and still be the future, drop a 100% in the comments right now.
Caitlin Clark is the needle. Caitlin is boxed off.
Caitlin Clark is the star. Everything else is wrapped around her, and everything else is revolving around her. She's Rookie of the Year in the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark is the star player of the WNBA.
The most popular woman ever in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark.
Because this change, it's not just major, it's a mistake.
They don't want Caitlin Clark to do Caitlin Clark no more.
From the moment Caitlin Clark was drafted, fans believed the Indiana Fever would build everything around her.
She went on a complete media tour. Do everybody forget about the media tour Stephanie White had prior to the season?
The offense, the tempo, even the culture. But now head coach Stephanie White is sending a completely different message.
Stephanie White speaking about Caitlin Clark actually learning this new system. And me personally, I feel like she's forcing Caitlin Clark. She's forcing her hand into making her learn this new offense. Listen to what she had to say.
There's so many things that go into, and I'm talking about being happy personally. Like I want her to be happy personally. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. It's a different group. While system might still be very similar, it's a different group, and things are happening quickly, and being able to mesh. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I think we've seen that there's so many things that go into.
Caitlin is not the system, and that change, it's already showing on the court. White isn't shy about her coaching style. She's admitted in interviews and post-game pressers that she wants to bring structure, patience, and discipline back into the Fever's game. But in trying to turn the team into a replica of her old Connecticut Sun system, she's forcing Caitlin Clark to play in a box.
We're not going to peak too early, so I mean that's a positive. But I think it's not an excuse. Everyone's playing a back-to-back.
A box she's never belonged in. This isn't Iowa's fast-paced, high IQ, spacing-heavy offense anymore.
She wants them to turn into she wants them to be old WNBA.
This is slow, methodical, old-school WNBA ball, or as one analyst called it, puke ball.
We are stuck watching an elementary school offense because Stephanie White is in over her head.
And fans aren't the only ones noticing.
Fans is not happy with everything that has been transpiring with Caitlin Clark.
Clark is spending more and more time off the ball, being used as a decoy or a spot-up shooter rather than the offensive engine she was born to be. Instead of letting her push the pace, create off screens, and play freely, White has her standing at the top of the key, watching plays develop at a crawl. One creator said it best: "You don't take the best offensive talent in women's basketball and tell her to wait her turn."
Caitlin Clark, plasters over all the cracks. She realistically plasters over all the cracks of this team. This team is not structured well.
You hand her the keys and get out of the way. But that's not happening. Stephanie White seems committed to a system that doesn't suit Caitlin's strengths. It's built for veterans like Natasha Howard and former Sun players, not for a 22-year-old phenom who thrives in speed, creativity, and chaos. And while White says things like, Caitlin can still be Caitlin, her offense tells a different story.
Seems like to me, y'all don't want Caitlin to be Caitlin. Y'all are old guard coaches. This is an old guard coaching staff.
Let's look at the results. The few moments when Caitlin breaks free of the system, when she's calling the shots, running pick and rolls with Aaliyah Boston, pushing the tempo, the Fever look alive. They move the ball. They score in transition. They look like a team with an identity, But the minute they go back to Stephanie White's playbook, stagnation, turnovers, poor spacing, and a superstar being wasted. Even opposing analysts are shocked. One said, "You drafted Caitlin Clark to be your engine, and now you've got her running as a backup generator." This isn't just a tactical problem, it's a philosophical one. Stephanie White is coaching a 2025 player with a 2010 mindset.
We got all the chess pieces, but we have somebody who knows how to play checkers and not chess.
She's prioritizing structure over spark, control over instinct, and system over superstar. And the result? The Fever are collapsing in the fourth quarter. They're failing to build rhythm.
4 games in a row, we've had a double-digit lead, and we've lost the game.
And worst of all, they're leaving Caitlin Clark to figure it out on her own. So when Stephanie White subtly signals that Caitlin is not the system anymore,
Stephanie White is quite essentially bringing in the Connecticut Sun offense to the Indiana Fever. 2 totally different types of teams.
she's not just adjusting strategy, she's redefining the identity of the franchise. But in doing so, she may be ignoring the one truth the WNBA has already realized. Caitlin Clark isn't supposed to fit into a system. She's supposed to be the system.
Caitlin Clark is the star player of the WNBA.
The most popular woman ever in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark.
And until Stephanie White embraces that, the Fever will keep losing games.
Stephanie White is going to be exposed as a fraud as a coach. She didn't assemble that team. She inherited that team. Just like she inherited Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell.
And possibly their future. If Stephanie White's goal was to prove her structured offense could work without building around Caitlin Clark, the results are in, and they're damning. The Indiana Fever are struggling, not just losing games, but losing rhythm, identity, and momentum. And the reason is clear. The system Stephanie White insists on running falls apart without Caitlin at the center of it. Let's start with the pace of play. At Iowa, Caitlin Clark thrived in transition. She pushed tempo, dictated flow, and operated in chaos. In the WNBA, she's been shackled. Stephanie White has turned the Fever into one of the slowest teams in the league.
They have thrown, Caitlin Clark would throw,
dragging possessions out, holding the ball too long, and eliminating the very thing that makes Caitlin dangerous: spontaneity. One analyst put it bluntly, they've got a Ferrari in the garage and refuse to take it out of first gear. And you can see it in the numbers and on the court. The pick and roll between Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, a weapon that should be unstoppable, is being underused or outright ignored. Instead of playing to their strengths, White's system diverts the offense through isolation plays, low percentage mid-range jumpers, and a painful lack of movement. Multiple creators have pointed out that the only time the Fever look competent on offense is when Caitlin freelances.
Anytime Caitlin Clark's been knocked to the ground, anytime Aaliyah Boston's been punked, anytime Lexi Hull's been beat up, Sophie Cunningham's been beat up, more concern about somebody on the other team than from her own team.
When she waves off the play, drives downhill, or pulls up in transition, in those moments the team actually breathes. But when the system takes over, everything slows, spacing collapses, and the ball dies in the hands of players who were never meant to be primary options. Let's talk about personnel, because this goes deeper than coaching. Stephanie White's system might have had a chance if it were built around players that fit her mold. But instead, she's trying to run a slow, grinded-out system with mismatched parts. Natasha Howard, struggling to finish, slow in recovery, barely fitting next to Aaliyah.
She don't know how to rebound. Like, what are we doing here?
Victoria Vivians, low efficiency, poor decision-making. Sydney Colson, more known for her TikTok presence than court leadership. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, the generational passer and elite scorer, is being pushed to the background so these system pieces can take bad shots and make worse decisions. One creator nailed the frustration. They've got Caitlin playing off ball while Vivians chucks up 3 for 12 nights and Natasha walks up the floor. This ain't coaching, it's sabotage. This is where the philosophy collapses. If Caitlin Clark is not the system, then what is? Is it Natasha Howard's broken post-ups, Is it slow half-court sets that ignore your best passer? Is it bench rotations that bury your best shooters while giving minutes to veterans who don't hustle?
Because it makes no sense to me. It makes me feel like you're more worried about the people who've been here for years and them getting some kind of shine. That's costing us games.
The truth is, there is no real system without Caitlin at the center. She's not just another piece. She's the only piece that makes the rest of it work. The gravity she creates opens up driving lanes, draws defenders to half court, and fuels spacing even when she doesn't touch the ball. By pulling her out of that role, by asking her to fit in instead of lead, Stephanie White has created a blueprint for failure. Even worse, it's becoming visibly demoralizing. You can see it on Caitlin's face. The fire is still there, but the energy is being drained. She's passing to teammates who aren't ready. She's watching plays fall apart. She's being blamed for turnovers in a system that doesn't let her control the ball.
Lisa Bluter did warn about this, bro. She warned. You have to let her do what she does. That is part of her greatness.
This isn't about ego. It's about efficiency. You don't sideline your best weapon and expect success. You don't tell Steph Curry to defer. You don't tell Mahomes to hand off every play. So why are we asking Caitlin Clark to sit back and play passive? Fans are seeing it. Analysts are seeing it. Even other players are starting to sense it. This version of the Fever is built to lose because it's ignoring the one person who can turn it all around. At the end of the day, this isn't just a poor strategic choice. It's a franchise-level mistake. If Caitlin Clark isn't your system, then you don't have one. And every game that goes by under this philosophy is one step closer to wasting the greatest rookie talent the WNBA has ever seen.
Stephanie White is making it her business and pick up some wins, man. Stephanie White, speaking about Kayla Clark, actually learning this new system. And me personally, I feel like she's forcing Kayla Clark. She's forcing her hand into making her learn this new offense. Listen to what she had to say.
There's so many things that go into, and I'm talking about being happy personally. Like I want her to be happy personally. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. You know, it's a different group. While system might still be very similar, it's a different group, and you know, things are happening quickly, and being able to mesh. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I think we've seen that there's so many things that go into.
By now, it's painfully clear. This isn't just about play calling or pace. This is a full-scale mismanagement crisis that's affecting the entire identity of the Indiana Fever and putting Caitlin Clark's future in jeopardy before it's even had a chance to begin. Let's be honest, you don't draft Caitlin Clark at #1 overall, the most hyped rookie in WNBA history, a transcendent talent who breaks ratings records and moves merchandise faster than any other athlete.
WNBA rumors suggest Kayla Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlin Clark.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from three. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from three-point range.
And then decide she's not the system. You build everything around her. You maximize her tools. But what have the Fever done instead? They've buried her in a system she doesn't belong in. They've surrounded her with veterans who don't complement her playstyle. They've allowed a locker room to fracture.
This locker room is split, and she uses the term different islands.
And most importantly, they've let a generational opportunity slip through their fingers, all in the name of structure. Stephanie White's approach isn't just outdated, it's obsolete. She's attempting to mold the Fever into the image of her former team, the Connecticut Sun, where she coached aging veterans through a slow-tempo, paint-heavy system that emphasized physicality over creativity. But the modern WNBA and Caitlin Clark's game is the exact opposite. It's spacing, shooting, quick reads, fast breaks, off-ball movement. It's the NBA-style evolution that the league desperately needs and that Caitlin naturally brings. Yet Stephanie White refuses to evolve. Instead, she's forcing Clark to operate within a system built for players like Natasha Howard, a player who, by all accounts, is no longer capable of leading or carrying a modern offense. Howard is slow in transition, inefficient near the rim, and lacks the defensive urgency needed to back up her minutes.
Now watch this. Now, did y'all see the coach grab her? Watch this. Y'all see this? Wow. Why is she grabbing her? Forgetting the crowd hype like she ain't supposed to do that. Look at how she grabbing. Look at the hand on the arm. Hold up, wait a minute.
Yet she plays 30-plus minutes a game. Meanwhile, Clark, who should be quarterbacking every possession, is often off ball or watching as others walk the ball up with no urgency. One creator even joked they drafted an iPhone 15 and are trying to run it on dial-up internet. And that's not just bad strategy, it's failure at the top. Where's the accountability for Amber Cox and Kelly Krauskopf, the two women running the Fever's front office? According to multiple creators, they've escaped the spotlight, hiding behind Stephanie White as the criticism pours in. But they built this. They gave out a max contract to DeWanna Bonner, a move that didn't just fail, it fractured the locker room. They traded away young, promising talent for veterans who have little chemistry with the current core. They made emotional signings like Sydney Colson, who brings locker room energy but almost zero on-court impact. Instead of thinking long-term and building a roster that suits Caitlyn's play style, they opted for short-term optics, social media buzz, and names over fit. While other teams like the Liberty and Aces are drafting smart, signing athletic role players, and bringing in international stars with upside, the Fever are stuck in a cycle of nostalgia and mediocrity. And the fans, they're done being patient. One fan posted, "You don't sign the biggest star the league's ever had just to stick her in a dinosaur offense with 32-year-olds who can't run."
Whose idea was it to bring these old dinosaurs and put them on this roster?
What are we even doing? This is where the mismanagement becomes personal. Caitlin Clark didn't come into the WNBA asking for special treatment. She came in ready to work, to learn, and to win. But instead, she's been handed a fractured team, a failing system.
This does not sound like the team. We have our own islands, and I understand on every single team.
And teammates who often leave her physically unprotected and emotionally isolated. Let's not forget, Clark leads the team in assists, minutes, and floor leadership. She's the one making the extra pass. She's the one talking to teammates after every timeout. She's the one calming players down after blown plays, even when she's the one taking the blame. And how is she being rewarded? With media scrutiny, with post-game questions about why she's struggling, when in reality she's thriving under pressure that no rookie should have to carry alone. Caitlin now looks emotionally drained. You can see it on her face in press conferences. The joy is fading. The bounce in her step is being replaced by frustration. And the creativity that defined her game is being stifled by a system that wants her to blend in, not break free. As one creator said, they want Caitlin to become a piece of their puzzle.
You can't come in here and try to change Caitlin Clark, the person.
But what they don't get is, Caitlin is the puzzle. Build around her.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
And she was the MVP. She is the main draw.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
Or it all falls apart. This mismanagement doesn't just affect Clark and the Fever, it affects the entire WNBA. Caitlin Clark brought in record-breaking viewership. She boosted revenue, ticket sales, and media attention. She made casual sports fans care about women's basketball again. And how has the league responded? By standing back while one of its biggest assets gets misused and mishandled in real time. Fans are watching. Sponsors are watching. Casual viewers are asking questions. And if the WNBA doesn't step in, or if the Fever don't change course, They risk turning a once-in-a-generation marketing gift into a case study in how to waste a star. This is no longer about one team's strategy. It's about protecting the future of the league itself. If Caitlin Clark isn't the system, then the system is broken. This isn't just a basketball problem. It's a culture problem, a leadership problem, a direction problem. And if it isn't fixed soon, the Fever won't just lose games. They'll lose the one thing they should have been protecting all along: their identity, their fans, and their future.
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. She's so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
And she was the MVP.
She is the main draw.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
Caitlin Clark is a rising star in women's basketball. She's pulling in crazy viewership numbers.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
Yeah, she's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person and she has like a lot of aura, so like.
Stephanie White may say Caitlin Clark isn't the system anymore, but everything we've seen proves the opposite. The truth is, there is no system without Caitlin. She's the vision, the spark, the engine. And the minute the Fever stopped building around her, everything started falling apart. The offense, the chemistry, the confidence. But this goes beyond one coach's system. It's about a franchise that promised a future and is now fumbling the present. It's about a front office playing it safe while their star plays her heart out. It's about a league that should be protecting its biggest asset, not watching her fade into frustration. If you believe Caitlin Clark is still the system, if you believe it's time to stop holding her back and start unleashing her full potential, then drop a 100% in the comments right now. Because this isn't just major, it's a warning. And if Indiana doesn't change course soon, they won't just lose a season, they'll lose Caitlin.